Hello there and welcome, of course. I've had a lot of people, of course, asking me and wondering whether it would actually happen, and of course, yes, here it is. I'm actually going to do it as a Christmas special. Now, of course, I've had a lot of people, of course, sending the questions and such, so I thought what I would do is I would address them all in a little, small miniature special, of course. Now, I've got a series of letters that have been sent in, with various questions and such. Of course, these people are wondering what the fuck is going on around here. And I thought I would answer them. Now, of course, oh, it's wonderful. Now, of course, my good brother, the Hans, he has written in to me and is asking, "Dearest Kurt, I have often wondered which is your favorite reindeer." Of course, being Christmas time, it seems like a logical question to ask, but I don't know why he wants to know that. He already knows. Of course, my favourite reindeer is the one Blitzen. I just love him. It's so funny. This one time we were hanging out at the North Pole, and he was rolling up some little snowballs and sewing in a bunch of penguins. It's funny. It's a great day. And of course, we'd be eating, the scallops, and of course, it's a wallpaper. It was fantastic. Of course, there's a red sheen one. It was lovely. A little bit of, salt and some lemon. It was, it was so beautiful. It nearly brought a tear to my eye. Oh, so there you go, Hans. That one is for you. My favorite reindeer is the Blitzen. This is thank you. Okay, now, and I have a wonderful little letter from a very special little fellow called Mark. And he says, "Dear Kurt, I know you love the Assassin's Creed Revelations. This is true, by the way. I do love the game. And although I have completed the story, what else should I do? Okay, now, the one thing that I would definitely suggest that you do is you get your finger out and you start doing all the memoirs, of course, as a person. There's about 10 of them, and you have to climb up to the top of the pause. And there's to take a moment to breathe in as the lovely views of the city and collect all the memoirs. And it will then give you the location of a special hidden den that you must go. And of course, you have to navigate and traverse certain fucking death in order to unlock the secret tomb of an assassin that once roams the city there. And I would wholeheartedly recommend it, as I took the time to do that. And if you don't, I shall set the goddamn rabid gophers upon you, and they shall destroy you and eat your toenails. Now you have been warned, Mark. I bid you good day, good sir." It's wonderful. I can't believe it took the time to send me a letter. I know how busy he is being so friendly, of course. This is a letter from a very good and a dear friend of mine. He's a friendly PC tech guy. Oh, he's so wonderful. I believe his name is Jeff. I did not know this, of course. It's only finding out earlier on today his name is Jeff. I've always known him as a friendly PC tech guy. It just makes me so happy. He's the only one that I can call for support whenever I have some troubles with the overclocking as the F3 key, of course. And anyway, of course, he says, "Hi Kurt, how are you?" And "I'm fine, thank you very much, thank you for asking, I'm very well. How's the computer running? Are you playing the Crisis yet?" Of course, you do remember, my good friend, of course, we went through the whole problem, and despite the other certain little the difficulties of the configuration of the computer, we managed to find out that the problem ended up being, of course, that I was running the game and the resolutions are 200 by 3, and well, of course, once you realised that, and you laughed at me repeatedly down the phone, which did hurt my little feelings a little bit. It almost gave me a curt, sad face. But I managed to build myself back up, and you explained to me that I needed to run it in at least there's a 1366 by 768 resolution in order to make it work properly. And now, of course, if you go onto my channel on the tube of the U, go onto there and you see on my channel the uploads. I've actually got a quick little video of me doing battle with a horrible floating to the aliens. They felt wrath with my fingers. Don't worry, watch the video, you will understand. But I thank you so much for writing. It's so important. It makes me feel so happy. Of course. Now, who is next? Oh, of course, yes. It's a wonderful person, of course. It's called Zanat. Of course, she says, "Hey Kurt, how can I tear my boyfriend away from his i7 water-cooled PC? He's always playing the farming simulator at 1080p. Well, I draw a blank at this one. Why in the name of God is he playing the goddamn the farming simulator at goddamn 1080p? I mean, the simulator of the farm. It's a very understanding when I went to my good friend Jacob. He has a farm over in the plantation in America, and I went there one time, and I asked him, why do you want to work on a farm? And he says, do you know what? He says, the pigs, of course, they make so loads of money and they make the best kind of lovers. I have no idea what he meant by that, but of course, I saw the little pig, his little friend, his little piglet friend, little Harry, and of course he said, he looked up at his little piggy tail and he's wagging and he's smiling and stuff and he's snorting. So I don't know, I can't really honestly say what's the whole, the appeal might be, of course, of spending so much time playing the farming simulator 1080p. However, I might give you one suggestion that you could maybe try. Sneak up behind him the next time he's engrossed in this game. It's a 1080p as a resolution with the water cooled i7, of course, and whisper into his ear, NVIDIA. And of course, after that, if that gets his attention, then you might want to, ask him if he wants to play a different two-player game, of course, and suggest, that it does include the haystacks. I will let your imagination go from there. You sound like a really wonderful person in that, of course, and I do hope that it all works out very nicely for you. Thank you so much for writing. Oh, it's so great to have all these wonderful letters from the dear people that I love so much. Okay, now, the Adam. Oh, the Adam. It says, hello Kurt. If I overclock the F3 key and the mouse pad to the 24 gigahertz, when I get a better refresh rate. And there's also the PS, those SSP, the PS Note. This is also, I should see you tomorrow. We should talk about that then. Oh, we will. We will talk very much about that then, my good friend. But to answer your question, of course, if you overclock the F3 key and the mouse pad together, the main part, of course, you see, is the overclocking of the mouse pad. It stimulates the bottom of the hand, of course, to make your hand move quicker. So, of course, now I know that you have the difficulty using the mouse and the keyboard. So, why you want to overclock the F3 key and the mouse pad, I do not. And that combination, it strikes me as kind of strange, of course. The F3 key I can understand because I know how demanding the dentist is with the speed. I know I've experienced such tragedies myself. It was like, I don't know, it's like being subjected to a gorilla rape down the side of the cabin on the Monday morning. The first things that stood there was the grouse and the face, and of course, and the gouge and the frown. Nothing brings the sadness, of course, and the more than that, but of course, anyway. Oh, dear God, it makes me feel so emotional just thinking about it. But I would probably say, of course, if you want to overclock, of course, the F3 key and the mouse pad, that will help with the quickness of your hand. But you're using the wireless box of the Xbox, the gaming, the wireless pad, of course, it might not help any better. But of course, you could also try it as well. But also just remember, don't forget to set your color temperature and stuff properly as well. And don't forget to overclock, of course, from the 32 bits of the color to the 33. You get a much better refresh rate, of course. And don't forget the refresh rate of the 60.3. Fantastic. And of course, those are the little additions to your, of course, suggestions. It will be fine. It'll be fantastic. I know it will. Now, I think, oh God, we've got a couple more yet, of course. Now, another person's called me. This is good, is another person. I know him very, very well. He's a wonderful person. And he says, it's a fellow called, it's a Tandy, of course. It's a wonderful chap. And he says, Kurt, I don't know I don't so much have the question as much as I'm also the requester. Can you let my fiancé and my son know that I love them? Oh, of course. Hello, it's a Tandy, of course, the son is the fiancé, and of course, the son of the Tandy. He wants to know that he loves you both, and of course, and he sends his heart to you both as it's Christmas time, of course. And he wants to give a shout out to the Adam and the Mark. Without who at work, the Gorillas would have had him off ages ago. That kind of distresses me a little bit, of course, because I've had, of course, the Gorillas, of course. I was wondering when it was one morning. I was over on the street of the Dale, and I could hear the rustling in the bushes, and I went over to investigate and see what the crack was, because, of course, I wasn't too sure. I was only new here. I hadn't been on this world all that long. Now, when, of course, as closer I got, I could hear a slight whispering, and when I got close enough, all I could hear was, Gorilla. And then the next thing you know, a great big pair of padded black hands appeared on my face. And I have no recollection of what happened after that, except I woke up underneath the canal bridge, completely naked and covered in snot. It was disgusting. Oh my God, I hope it never happens again. And then of course all of the people, the little people with their cameras and the Japanese and the eyes and the laughing and the pointing and stuff. Sometimes I think this place is such a horrible world. But other things like, of course, the penguins and the yellow coats and of course the waffles. Oh my goodness, the waffles. Oh, it makes my heart just dance and sings with joy as to how wonderful this world can be, of course. But anyway, I get carried away sometimes, as you could probably tell, as your emotions get a bit also cut. Now, of course, now last but not least, of course, we have the letter from the persons that you know as God. He says, hello Kurt from the ethereal plane. Hello God, it's nice to see you again. And I have the pop-up on the computer you built for me asking me to overclock the case to 73 the gigahertz to enable the waffle mode. Do I need this? The answer to that, God, of course, is it is optional, you see. I have this on the computer that I built, of course. Because, of course, I overclock my case and to cook the waffles, of course, I'm such a big fan of the waffles. I mean, one of my favourite ones is, of course, blood and the vagina of the rhino meat. I love it. It's fantastic. There's a maple syrup, of course, and the spoon and the fork. Oh, my God, it is ecstasy in my mouth. I can't contain it. But of course, it is universal. And one thing I will also tell you is the next time you go to the Milky Way, you will tell those Galaxian people on the planet Earth 4345, you tell them that I want my iPod back. They've had it long enough. It is not fair. And I don't like traveling between this plane and the ethereal plane without my iPod. Anyway, I think that just about makes it out for all the letters. And, there you go. That all the letters from the wonderful people in the world have also voted into me in order to ask me to make this wonderful, so special, wonderful. There's a little Christmas edition of the Kurt episodes. Now, and finally, as a little special treat, considering it is such a seasonal time of the place in the world, and the seasons, the times of Christmas, I have, of course, a wonderful little instrument here. It's a 6-string guitar, of course, it's a green one, of course, a Jackson electric string guitar. And I would like to play for you a little festive tune just to sign out and say thank you for all your hard work. Except there's just one little thing. I'm going to do it in a different video because I'm not going to sit and go through the whole of the dialogue and then, of course, try and play the tune and so fuck it up. So bear with me, and of course, we will go from here to here, and then, of course, I will play out with the lovely festive tune. Let's see you in a moment. Goodbye. Hello, of course, and we're back again, of course. Now, as I said, we're going to finish off with a little festive number on the guitar, of course, now. Please do enjoy. Goodness, sorry about that. I forgot where I was in a moment there. Of course, nobody festivals knows a headbanging and such, of course. Anyway, of course, please enjoy. Here we go. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and an overclocked and fantastic New Year. Goodbye.